So we were just having a bit of problems with technical difficulties.
Okay.
So I think we can start, right, guys? Is everybody ready?
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys are ready? Okay.
Well,
All
to
right.
everybody looking in on Facebook Live, welcome. I think each of the channelers, the four others that you see here, will probably be best if they introduce themselves. So Monica is the host and the creator of this multi-channeling event and series, actually. So Monica, maybe you've got a opening comment or some words that might introduce you. So go ahead, please.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Monica Dumont. I'll do a short introduction because we've only got 2 hours and a lot of information that needs to come in. So for some of you know me. I'm a multi-dimensional healer. So that means that I get to travel into other dimensions and do energy work in that way. And because of that, I am able to also channel. The purpose of channeling for me is to bring information to the planet in order to assist in the ascension process that's happening right now. If you want to know a little bit more about me, you can visit my website at monicadumont.com. Thank you.
And Monica, who do you expect to be channeling today?
Today, I will be channeling the Ascended Masters.
Very good. I know sometimes it's a surprise, but
yes,
they're pretty steady with you.
Yes.
Yeah, Kate, you have the floor.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm Kate Woodley. I'm really happy to be here. Some of you may know me. For those of you who don't, I'm a channeler and energy clearer with ascensioncalling.com. I'm blessed, lucky, spoiled rotten to be able to connect with many, many beautiful beings, including the Andromedans, the very loving Arcturians, the wise blue avians, as well as the Galactic Federation of Light. I'm not sure who's going to be coming through today. I feel a really big group. So we're going to see who comes through as the principal speaker, but I have a feeling it'll be a concert of beings, which is always exciting. One thing that I really, love to do with clients is I help them find their life path, their soul's purpose for being here. And much like Monica said, bringing through messages about ascension and insight and hope for humanity. So it's wonderful to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Kate. Tina McPhee.
Hello, and I'm happy to be here too. Thank you very much. And I'm channeling Kanadra, who is an Andromedan and representing a collective. And I guess I'm kind of transitioning into my next stage of life from my teaching career and moving into probably Reiki healing, among other things. And we'll kind of see where that leads. So I'm sure there'll be other things too, I hope, and the channeling and various other mediumship practices and so on. So happy to be here and happy to have the practice when I can.
Now, Kanadra brings an orientation towards education, I believe. Is that correct?
Yeah, sometimes that often is it, and I often get good, I feel like messages about kind of, maybe it relates to me too right now, just kind of your kind of evolution and kind of stages in life too. Sometimes I'm seeing a bit of a pattern on that. So
good. Tiffany Tin.
Hi everyone, I'm Tiffany and so excited to be here with you all today. I am a channeler, healer, and teacher, and I have been channeling with beings for quite a few years now. I do this full time in sessions and teaching courses, helping others connect with their guides. The most common beings that I channel is the Arcturians, as I'm a Arcturian soul. So I learn with them how to heal, how to beam ourselves onto the starships to receive healing and lessons. I also work with the Pleiadians as well, and the inner earth beings known to me as Mahavira and Tech. So there's quite a lot of guys that we connect to. I have a bunch of dragons that I work with as well. It's really exciting. And I'll be here today as part of the panelists to answer questions about channeling, whether it's about protection or connecting with dragons and so forth. So thanks for having me here.
Thank you all for that. I should say that I'm Peter Dennis. I'm a facilitator of channelers. That really means that I, as a hypnotist, have been able to help a number of people connect and strengthen that connection, and in some cases, take it to the public. I have a website, peterhdennis.com, and you can see a little more about me and about channeling. So I get to moderate today. And I think at this point, perhaps if you channelers will just bring in your beings, and I'll ask everybody to turn off their phones, and I'm going to put mine on flight mode, and that'll kill everything, I think. And then we'll see who comes through and go from there, I guess.
Greetings, we are the Ascended Masters here to assist. We ask you to please place your feet firmly on the ground, wherever you may be, and to ground yourselves properly as you inhale into your spiritual hearts. We will ask you to breathe into your spiritual hearts once more. And expand your chest as you do. When you bring your attention to your spiritual heart, you are then able to understand certain frequencies and information that are ready to be received by higher and lower aspects of yourselves. When you place yourself, your attention, your awareness in your spiritual heart, you are able to open up your systems in a harmonious way, in a way which allows you to receive to the frequency of divine love. We welcome you and all of the other beings of light who are here, present and ready to assist.
Well, thank you, Ascended Masters, and welcome to this group. I know you are a group, but you seem to be a single individual as spokesperson here. Would you identify who it is that is speaking, if you would, please?
At this exact moment, I am Saint Germain, keeper of the violet flame. It is my intent to bring the energy of the violet flame within this group. It is important that you stay grounded throughout this session, for the energies can begin to lift you and transmute certain things within your energy field. And as you keep grounded and focus on the heart, you will be able to harmonize these energies in a more gentle, more subtle way. I thank you for your question.
Well, I thank you very much, especially for bringing the violet flame. Now, Kate is looking like she has somebody coming through. Who would that be?
Hello and greetings. This is Ashtar, and I am here with a number of members from the Galactic Federation of Light. It is our pleasure and our honor to be here and to have an audience with all of you today. We will also say that we are joined by many of Kate's other beings, namely the Blue Avians, the Andromedans, and the Arcturians. So we are here in great numbers to lend our light and our energy. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And we hope to hear a little more about what you're up to these days. I know you're surrounding our planet and sending lots of good vibrations and energy to us. And we'd love to hear more about that. I'm going to ask if Canadra is here at this time through Tina.
Yes, I am here, and I'm pleased to be
welcome.
here.
Yes. Welcome. Tina was saying, Canadra, that your orientation is moving, in addition to education, into maybe stages of life or something like that. Can you elaborate on that, please?
Yes, we are here to support and help those who are looking to recreate, re-envision themselves as their energies change, as the new world evolves into its higher vibration and brings much changes. We are helping to bring messages of stability, of reassurance, to support those looking to understand their place in this important time. In no small way does education intersect with this, and thereby intersect with work and our perceptions of both of these significant aspects of life on Earth.
Mhm. Well, thank you. Now, for those who are on the Zoom call, I can take questions through the chat line. If you type them in, I'll be monitoring that. And I don't see any at the moment. So I think while we're waiting for that, I would ask Saint Germain if there is a message that is important for all of us to hear at this time.
Thank you for that question, Peter. As time begins to accelerate itself more and more, some of you might find that you need to ground more often throughout your day. Some of you will begin to notice that in order to slow down time for yourselves, you must then focus in the energy field, or also known as the subtle energies around your physical body, so that then you can realize or sense the subtle energies within your physical body. So focusing on the external aspects of yourself first, then moving your attention to the inside of your body, and begin to breathe into the spiritual heart, to then acknowledge the time passing as it is for many of you. And as you do so, you begin to then slow down through your breath time simultaneously for you, although it will look different for others. What I am trying to explain is how you can play with the concept of time as an energy by using your breath and focusing in your energy field, as well as the subtle energies within your body. You then begin to breathe into those energies and have the intent to fall backwards, as if you are falling into an abyss, which I could say, yes, the abyss, backwards, slowing time down through your breath and the sensation that your body will give you with that. That will assist you in having more time in completing what you need to complete. And the sensation.
Commander Ashtar, I think this is something that's on everyone's mind, and I know you're monitoring Earth, so you're perhaps the best to field this question. The question is, the vaccine related to the COVID virus, is it essential and is it safe?
Hello. Yes, there's much we can say. What we will first say to preface this answer is that there is much information in your realm and on your planet. Some of this information is accurate. Some of it was once founded in truth and has been embellished or misinterpreted. And so what we see at this time is what we have long referred to as a campaign of mass confusion. There are many different belief systems, and we are not here to lend our truth to one or the other. What we will say, however, is that the vaccine at this point is what we will say a mixed bag. There had been, yes, originally some plans to tamper with the contents and the ingredients of this vaccine so that it could have had harmful effects on humanity. However, you must all remember that there are forces of the light, there are very high vibrational beings that are working alongside humanity to try to eliminate any negative effects and try to infuse more positivity and more light, not only into the vaccine, but in all facets of human existence. And so the outcome where we are at in this particular moment in time is that not all vaccines are detrimental. It is a mixed bag. There are some that we would say are rather innocuous. They have been what we will say positively affected by the light and the light forces, for we have been on this for quite some time. And there are, unfortunately, some vaccines that, as we have seen, have had some negative effects on individuals. But we wish to assure humanity that this vaccine will not be the end of humanity. We understand there are many theories and rumors out there to that extent. We are here to reassure you that every agenda of the dark is actively being dismantled, and there is far more light coming onto your planet, infiltrating the human collective en route to ascension. These are hurdles. There will be nothing that will stop humanity's evolution. It is already, as you like to say, a runaway train. And we are propelling it forward. We are carving the way for this train to continue on its path towards a higher consciousness.
Thank you for that. There is a question that, let's see, there may be, I guess there's an interest in maybe having another channeler comment on the same question. And Canadra, would you be up for that?
We'll try.
How do you see it?
We see it as somewhat of issue of perspective as well. And the energy that people are putting towards it. Fear of it, fear from the disease itself, does not contribute positively to the overall situation. So there always needs to be the consideration of the energy which you are, as humans, putting into your field, and in examining the issue itself, whether it be vaccines or anything else. As was said, there's perhaps less to fear than has been made people to believe. Ultimately, each person will make their own decision, and within that decision, to consider that it is theirs and theirs alone, on whichever side may be chosen. There is not a need to perhaps influence, sway others to protect them either way. So, like many things, walking your own path is as important here as in so many other areas.
Mhm. Well, thank you. St. Germain, there's a couple questions I'm going to combine here. It says the planet seems to be more off than usual. Environmental concerns are obvious, but the downloads and encounters that we are experiencing, are they affecting the consciousness of the planet and of the moon?
We would like to answer this question as the Ascended Masters.
All right. Please.
We ask you to please repeat your question.
Yes, the planet seems to be more, I think the word is off than usual. Environmental concerns are obvious, but there are the downloads and encounters that we are experiencing. Are they affecting the consciousness of the planet and the moon?
They are affecting the consciousness of the planet. That is correct. Every living organism within planet Earth is being affected by each channel that is activated. You will begin to notice more and more individuals begin to be activated, not only as channelers, but also as healers, way showers, and other duties that they must be on their way. This is because the indigo lines are being asked to awaken, some within groups, some individually. Some started a while back, but we will continue to activate the other groups that are required according to what we see fit and what humanity is asking for and is ready for, in order to align the planet once again, but also to align all of that living organisms that are being affected by the imbalance that is happening at this moment. You will begin to notice that more people will begin to live from the perspective of their spiritual hearts. This is a prophecy that was created long ago, and we are content to say today that the prophecy is becoming true as we sit here and communicate with you today. As per your question of the moon, that would be a different topic, for you are communicating to us about or asking about other things that are happening there. It isn't our job to speak of that right now. We will let someone else speak about the moon.
Okay, thank you. This is a question for Tiffany, and we have to point out, if you don't know, that Tiffany is not channeling today, but this is something I think you're up for anyways, Tiff. Could you tell us more about the dragons? Are they beings of light, and what is their involvement on the planet?
Absolutely. So dragons, we have to understand, is a template a template that creates the form of dragons themselves. There are many types of dragons. They are actually very ancient type of beings. And if you look at our template, we're actually quite new. Some of the oldest template in the universe is actually the insectoids. So a lot of the draconian Orion wars that we think it's happening now, it started way back in the insectoid empire. And so dragons have been in part of this multiverse for a very, very long time. They have different rankings, they have different jobs in the universe, and they work alongside with angels and ascended masters. That's the reason why sometimes when you see depiction of ascended masters, such as Kuan Yin, for example, she rides on a white dragon. It's a lot of them do work with the ascended masters, or they act as guardians and protectors for the ascended masters. And so, for example, there are, of course, like any type of beings in the universe, a polarity, a spectrum. Some of them are more orientated towards service to self, others orientated towards service to others. A lot of people get confused and think that dragons are all bad because of the lot of programmings that in the media, and also they confuse dragons to draconians or alpha draconians. Though they look very similar, they have similar characteristics, they are not the same. That's like lump summing all humans into one umbrella. There's different types of dragons. Some of the most common types of dragons that people have as part of their spiritual team is the celestial dragons, elemental dragons. And so when you work with dragons, you have to go through this whole initiation process. They are a bit selective with who they work with because based on our consciousness, a lot of dragons have had conflicts with humans too. Back in the older life cycles of Earth, they were hunted at one point for their body parts for magic and alchemy. So dragons themselves choose their students very carefully based on their characteristics. When you work with dragon, you have to be very respectful, very integral, and you have to be committed. They don't just take anyone in. You have to show that you're going to be very committed. There are beings of light. So sometimes I work with people and see they have dragon guides. Some of them look like water dragons. Some of them look like seraphim dragons, or they have more feathers instead of scales. So there's really a lot of different types of dragons that you can work with, ranging from all types of colors. And they have different scales as well and different densities. So some of them are more transparent and etheric. Some of them are more like metal and chromatic. Then there's dragons. They usually have their own expertise. So when you work with dragons, you have to honor their expertise. Some of them work more in healing, let's say with the angels, the seraphims, then we have to honor that. Some other dragons are better when it comes to entity removals. So those type of dragons you can work with. So you have to kind of understand the rankings and the way of dragons when you work with them. As for their involvement on this planet, at this time, a lot of the elder dragons are returning. And that's why a lot of us are getting initiation, because there has been a lot of misconception about dragons. We just think dragons are, most people think dragons are like alpha draconians. And so they've come back to purify the land with us. And a very beautiful story that I'll share quickly is I use light language to summon a celestial dragon to work with me on Earth to purify the grid line. And it's such a beautiful experience to work with dragons. So I encourage each of you that do work with channeling or do a lot of astral traveling to have a dragon guide, because they're very good teachers when it comes to these type of discipline. So, yeah.
Thank you, Tiffany. That would be the subject for a great video one day. I'm going to try and sit you down and get you to do that. Thank you. Yeah, here's one. When we think of birthing a new world, can humanity look forward, or what can humanity look forward in an energy sense this year? Who would like to take that one on?
Hello, we will comment. This is Ashtar and the Galactic Federation. We will say there is much happening energetically, and this is largely not only because of the shift in consciousness that humanity is currently undergoing, it is not only because of the accelerated timelines, as the Ascended Masters have so eloquently spoken of. We will say that the first and most important step in looking at the energy imprint that is going to unfold for the remainder of this year, it is important that all people first look within themselves. Humanity has for far too long relied upon answers from people and sources outside of themselves. A pivotal point of ascension is learning to rely on your own inner wisdom, on your own knowing, for you all have a connection to the beyond. You all have guides and beings that are with you, that protect and guide you, and should you learn to make the connection with them, who will teach and advise you as well. Ascension must begin at the individual level before it could be manifested and experienced outside of yourselves at a broader collective and societal level. We are urging and inviting all individuals, regardless of where you are at in your personal growth, in your evolution, we would invite you to continue to dig deeper and look within yourselves and begin to ask yourselves some very important questions. Not only why you are here, but why you are here to help others. What gifts and abilities you innately possess in order to bring forth in service to others. What abilities and inner knowings, whether this is clairsentience, clairvoyance, an ability to heal and move energy, an ability to clear out darkness and anchor the light in and upon Gaia. Many, if not most of you, are here to contribute. But this contribution must begin through an individual rebirth within yourselves. And understand that as you rebirth yourself, as you raise your consciousness, you reignite your light and your spirit. And as such, this light has a ripple effect on those around you. This is how the momentum of ascension is achieved and attained. Every light worker, every star seed, and we have long said this, is strategically placed across your planet. Many of you feel that you are often surrounded by those who are unawakened, those who are still asleep, who have not done their inner work yet. This is not by accident. This is by choice, and it is absolutely strategic, for you are meant to help activate those around you through your light, whether consciously or unconsciously. And by leveraging your gifts, whether it is channeling or healing, teaching and guiding and being a way shower, or speaking the truth not as it is portrayed in your media, but the truth at a universal level. This is how you are going to contribute in shaping and manifesting a higher plane of consciousness around you. So we will not at this time answer what will happen in the next year, for it is very important for all of you to continue with your inner work. And through this inner change, you will more effectively and fully propel and trigger the outer change that you are all so keen to see and experience. Thank you.
I think that answers a question that just popped up in that the question was about how can we elevate our consciousness to ascend as humanity? And I think you're saying that each individual does this for themselves, and that will contribute to the collective and will go up as a collective. Have I got that about right, Commander Ashler?
Yes, you do. And
Okay.
we will simply add that what you bring to the world is what will be echoed back to you. And so again, we ask you to look within as much and even more frequently than how you look around you.
Thank you. Canadra, you may have heard of this. Somebody is asking, what does it mean to have a soul death?
To have a soul death is not as tragic as it sounds. Soul death is perhaps in a language that can be related to on Earth, a type of rebirth. Energetically, the soul may have to, or choose to, in a way, reinvent itself. It is a complex concept to distillate. However, to know that just as humans, you re-envision your self, you have free will within this reality. It is similarly so at the soul level.
This is a personal question from Nava. She says, I am a writer writing a book that is channeled. It is meant to help people break out of cycles of the mind or their mind prisons and oppression. I realize that it'll be very controversial and that I might find myself in the middle of a storm, which I'm not keen about. How should I deal with this fear? Would the masters like to run with that one, please?
Yes. Thank you for your question. We would like to ask you to continue to focus on your work and in the core of your truth, always, not just as you progress in the writing of this book, nor what will happen later or in other endeavors. When you, as a channeler, activate your abilities to channel information, you are also channeling frequencies into the earth for all living beings through awareness or non-awareness to tap into. As a channel, it is your responsibility, as it is within your contract, to always understand your truth. This is why we ask you to focus your attention back into your heart, so that when you encounter fears that come from the personality's point of view, that you are able then to dispel them, to then transform them into something that will serve you instead of something that will make you shy away from your purpose, from your path. When you write this book, you are imprinting not just words or letters, you are imprinting within those pages data, information, codes, light frequencies, that those who come into contact with it are then affected in more than just what they are reading. It is important that you do not engage with such thoughts, but that you stay focused in who you are as the true being of that is able to radiate these frequencies out into the world by focusing back into your heart, back to your truth, back to your core, back to your purpose. And you will notice that your path will open up with more, in an accelerated way, we could say, with more flow, with easiness. Thank you.
Thank you. Canadra, maybe another one for you. Can you tell us about twin flames or our eternal other half and the coming together of these souls?
The idea of a twin flame is a complex one. Any being may have twin flames in different aspects of their lives. Twin flames do not always imply a, so to speak, romantic connection. That is how it is often used, and that is the case as well. Twin flames are not necessarily, in your language, they're not permanent necessarily. They may serve a purpose in a particular timeline, in a particular life, where they are more in effect a crossing of paths, so that the one being serves a purpose in supporting or furthering the life path of the other. Twin flames does not necessarily mean the coming together of two beings within a lifetime and a permanence in that coming together. Of course, some twin flames may come together and spend what you would consider to be that lifetime together in that particular timeline, but this is not always the case. Again, as we said, it may be more a connection at a moment in time or over a certain time period to support and enable another being on their journey. So this may be romantic, of course, but it could be in other ways. It could be to support the birthing, literally and figuratively, of another being. It may be to help one transition through to another stage, another path on their life. So it is a very diverse topic, or diverse outcomes that can occur between twin flames. And these outcomes are never guaranteed, as is always the case. Free will always play a role in how and whether twin flames come together in any particular lifetime or timeline. We hope that helps on some level.
If we
Thank
may
you.
jump in,
Yes, please.
we fully agree with Canadra's beautiful words, and we would also like to add a little bit more information about the idea of twin flames. we will first explain to our human friends that although some of you may not be aware of this, most of you exist here as a soul fractal. By fractal, we mean that there are other aspects of your broader consciousness that may be experiencing and occupying other realms and other dimensions. You, of course, are not all aware of your other fractal selves, but there are many aspects of yourselves that are experiencing other realities and other experiences for the purpose of your growth and development at an essential level. That said, it is absolutely possible that the fractal reflections of yourself have their own version of a twin flame, depending on the dimension of consciousness that they are experiencing and occupying. For as Kanadra beautifully mentioned, they often come as teachers to reflect back an aspect of yourself that you are meant to focus on and grow from based on your experience. What you are experiencing here in the human realm may be very different from what your other fractals may be experiencing elsewhere. And as such, it is possible that you have more than one twin flame. You are multi-dimensional beings, and as such, so are the prospects of a twin flame. But it is all dependent and contingent upon the learning at hand, the experience that this other being, that this other soul will bring to your experience. Your experience here on Earth is at this time very much anchored in the 3D. And as such, the lessons which you are meant to learn and overcome are going to be very different than what your fractal or fractals are experiencing elsewhere. And so these twin souls, if you are meant to encounter them in any one existence or experience, they will come with a very, very unique imprint and energetic template that will lend value and contribute to your fractal self. And so we hope we have not overcomplicated the matter, but all this to say that in the same way that there are many, many possibilities and likelihoods in each one of your lives, the same is true with regards to your fractal selves and what a twin flame may bring to each of those experiences. Thank you.
That
We
might
would
prompt
like
another
to add to
question or two.
this.
Yes,
We would
please do.
like to add to this. Thank you. We find that this is a very important topic. And so it is important that those who are listening understand the different points of view. The information is well said. Thank you all for participating in adding to this complex topic. We would like to say, from our perspective, as the timelines continue to accelerate, more and more of you will begin to encounter this, we could say, aspects or parts of yourselves. This twin flame frequency is being acknowledged within this planet now. For those specific souls have agreed to allow the anchoring of divine love through coming together as one in fourth dimensional density, as well as potentially third dimensional density. It is important that you understand that as you come together in fourth dimensional density, you will become aware of each other in third dimensional density as well. The third dimensional density representation of the twin flame union does not always have to match what is happening in the fourth dimensional density. This is because you are activating your light bodies at a different frequency in order to then align in 3D, that you call 3D, that you are conscious of or aware of. And so as you begin to work together in fourth dimensional density or through dream time, you will begin to notice that this specific person begins to almost like, we could say, enter your energy field in 3D. And you might have the opportunity to become aware of this person. If you do, it is important that you understand that staying grounded and within your heart is important, because you will find that this specific frequency, as it comes to you, in order for you to understand the unification of self, in order for you to understand what divine love is within what it looks like in this planet, you will have to then face within yourself certain things. We call them, no, we are going to use a common word, aspects of yourselves that need healing. This specific individual will reflect back to you, or allow for you, or place a type of foundation that will assist you through their love to grow and expand and begin to channel higher frequencies of love as well. It is a process that is required to happen as the ascension continues to occur here in the planet. We want to thank all of the souls who are participating in such endeavor, for we understand the difficulties that you may face in your 3D reality when this begins. Thank you.
Thank you. Canadra, someone is asking, what is all the fear on the planet trying to preserve? And what purpose is it serving? And I guess who might be part of that?
Purpose, in very simplistic words, would be to try to resist, slow down the now inevitable ascension. However, all darkness and fear is a reflection of what people perceive or believe, and are there to, in a way, show what light needs to be shone on. There will always be contrast. So fear on some level may always have a role, or perhaps a better word than just fear may be darkness more generally. I will allow the other beings here to further address this.
Yes, we can happily jump in at this time. There is much we can say about the role of fear. We feel that Canadra has beautifully expressed this, that yes, it is, on one level, it is a tool, it is a shield. However, most importantly, we are going to once again focus on the individual. When an individual vibrates and resonates with fear that is presented to them, it is an opportunity for each person to ask themselves, why am I resonating with this fear? What is it within myself that I must heal? And what do I need to do in order to rise above this fear? Fear will be served to humanity as long as humanity continues to ingest it. This is a choice that you all have. And again, it takes us back to our earlier point that the progress, the spiritual evolution must begin within yourselves. If you cannot easily rise above the fear, then you must face it and confront it and heal it within yourselves. We will also say that in healing fear within yourselves, It is forcing you to confront many, many issues, experiences, and situations that may also be holding you back or slowing your spiritual progress. And so we see these as opportunities for improvement. Once you learn to rise above fear, it is very difficult to succumb to it once more. Once you learn to connect with the higher vibration of universal love, and once you understand at an essential level how powerful and magnificent you each are as beings, there is no fear that anyone could dish out to you that you would so easily ingest and believe. And so you must learn to recognize who you are and that you are sovereigns of your own being and of your own life, and learn to take control of your feelings, your thoughts, and your emotions. Choose how you wish to feel. This is something that you must actively train yourselves to do in the same way that you train yourselves to do a task or a chore. You must train your thinking into achieving a more consistently high vibration that is in alignment with universal love and joy. This is fear that is here to shake humanity up and out of a state of complacency. You have all so long believed that the world is the way it is because this is the way it is. Well, this fear, this chaos, this polarization that you are all being faced with is actually here to help you all open your eyes, to heal what needs to be healed within, and to take that healing at a societal and collective level. But again, we will always firmly state that this change must start within yourselves. Thank you.
Thank you. We're coming up to break time, but would the masters like to comment on fear just before we do take a break? Or has enough been said?
Enough has been said.
All right. Then folks, we can maybe, I don't think we have to mute ourselves, but perhaps Denis or Jenny can get us all back on the screen together. Channelers can come back, and we'll resume at 1/4 the hour. Okay. You came sneaking back quickly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Tiffany, I'm going to have to sit you down to explain dragons in front of the camera.
Oh yeah, sorry, that was a lot of info. I just blurted it out.
It was really good though, I thought.
Yeah, maybe it was real.
Yeah, I'm like a dragon nerd. So when you ask me dragon, I'm like, oh yeah, so much.
My favorite.
Yeah, I'm going to step away for a couple minutes, and,
Okay.
maybe a bit more, but I'll be back shortly.
Well, but they'll see the same thing that we said on Zoom. Okay.
I am going to step away as well. Just to break. I'll leave it like that.
I think Commander Ashtar is with us. Am I correct?
We are here. Yes, I am present, and I am here with many members of the Federation who are observing, learning, and contributing much, much light. And we will say we have worked with the other beings to create a sacred space for all who are here. And many of those participants are actually being worked on. Your vibration is being worked on. And so you are present and participating in more ways than you are aware.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you. Here's a question that's probably in your court as much as anybody's. I understand, if I'm correct, that you have a military background of sorts. This is a question about post-traumatic stress syndrome. And I guess this individual has a lot of noise sensitivity and nervous system responses that seem to be overloaded by outer stimulation. She has a hard time with a lot of this outer stimulation and or stimuli. and feels like she's being shocked. She's tried earplugs, but feels that's a temporary fix. Do you have any suggestions?
Is the question that this individual is hearing noises as part of their post-traumatic stress? Is that correct?
Maybe that individual can respond in some way. I'm not getting a response here. Rachel, I think you won't mind if I reveal who you are here. Rachel, can you
It's like
respond to that?
loud noises, like sudden bangs, any like screaming, things that are just really loud and out of nowhere, stuff like that.
Yes, we are attuning to your higher self. Give us a moment. What is coming forward is that there are energetic imprints and echoes of very traumatic experiences. This you are aware of, and you have been able, or unable rather, to detach and disconnect yourself from this energetic imprint that has somewhat embedded and interwoven itself within you energetically at an essential level. It is absolutely possible for you to disconnect from these energetic echoes. There will be some work required at a chakra level, as well as at a soul level. We would recommend that you work with a healer or continue to do so. We will also say that as part of your spiritual growth, what is coming forward is that you are also clairaudient, which gives you the ability to hear in the beyond. You are more adept at hearing signals and messages from the beyond, even if they are simply energetic imprints. And so there are a few layers that are impacting you at an essential level. With regards to your unfolding clairaudient abilities, we would advise that perhaps in a meditative state, you work with your higher self and your guides to tune this down until you have healed from the trauma. For it is as if though there is an overwhelm in stimuli, and you are at this point unable to distinguish and decipher that which is part of your embedded trauma versus that which is part of your clairaudient abilities. And so it would be in your best interest to ask your guides to tune down this innate ability that is being birthed and emerging within you, and focus on healing, on learning to find calm and stillness. And when the time is right, your clair abilities will continue to emerge and develop beautifully for you. But there is much happening for you at this time. We do see you coming out of this. This is part of your soul journey and your experience. You have, prior to this incarnation, signed up for this so that you will in turn be able to assist others with their traumatic experiences, not necessarily in the same way or in the same realm in which you have experienced this, but you will learn how to heal trauma, how to come to a place of greater neutrality and peace. And this lesson, this method and approach is going to be instrumental in your future work. We hope this helps you.
Thank you. Kanadra, we were speaking earlier about these aspects or fractals of ourselves. And the question here is, can we meet our other aspects or fractals?
Yes, you are often doing it in different ways, whether you realize it or not. You may meet them through dreams and potentially through types of meditation. If you are able to get deep enough, so to speak, it would require focus in that context and practice, but it is possible. Your higher self is connected to these as well. So in connecting with your higher self, you are or can connect to some of those fractals. We will allow other beings to further comment on this if they choose.
Anyone? Or enough said? Like enough said. Okay. Here's somebody who experiences whole lives in her dreams and wakes up exhausted. And she's wondering, is it possible that some of our dreams are actually us living lives? And I guess, would these be maybe our fractals? Would the masters
Yes,
like to tackle that?
we will comment on this.
Oh, okay.
As we've mentioned, humanity is multidimensional. You are still in the infancy of your learning and understanding of how complex and omnipotent you all are. As time in your realm accelerates to the point of what we will refer to as ascension, there are a number of parallel experiences of other aspects of yourselves, whether you call these fractal selves or parallel lives, that are reintegrating, that are being emerged into fewer and fewer aspects of yourself until they reach a point of ascension where everything has been united from your essential level. What is happening for many of you in your dream time is that you are experiencing bleed throughs or recalls of these other existences. In some cases, you are bringing closure to past lives. In some cases, you are becoming increasingly aware of the fractal existences that you are all experiencing. And these bleed throughs often represent a closure, a conclusion to that aspect of yourself that is then being reintegrated into your primary essence. And so as humanity ascends, there is a need for fewer and fewer fractals of yourself, because you are learning and you are accelerating and evolving at an accelerated rate. And as such, these multiples of experiences are coming to an end. Now, this does not mean that your life, your consciousness will come to an end. No, it simply means that as these other parallel lessons are being learned, and as you pass them, you bring closure to them. And so you are all operating on an increasingly fewer amount of timelines and fractal aspects of yourselves as you near the ascension point. We hope that this has not confused anyone, but we certainly hope that this has lent some clarity into the issue.
Mhm. Here's a question. What is the best way to support humanity that may be bound in fear? I understand that sovereign work in our own field and vibration or polarization is meant to be personal. How may we extend this out to the community? Anyone like
We
to?
would like to answer that.
Yes, please do.
As you focus your attention inwards, you will realize that you are connected to everyone, including organizations and anything that creates your societies. that gives you automatic access in changing the frequencies within your society or organizations that you feel need changing or adjustment. You would then, through conscious meditation, place your attention inwards within the spiritual heart and think of, let's say, an organization that you feel needs more clarity in their vision and in their actions. You can then begin to understand that that organization is one with you, as you are one with it. As you become one through your awareness of unity, through your awareness of disconnection, you can then sit in a place of love, whatever that means to you at that time, and begin to assist this organization by aligning yourself to it as one through love, flooding this organization through your own love. And so you will then begin to activate this frequency within the organization and change it accordingly. You could do this in groups, and this would move things faster. For when you gather from the perspective of your heart, when you gather thinking of something such as unity, something that is to assist in the collective through love, all is possible. Thank you.
Mhm. Commander Ashtar, you are, as I understand it, in charge of a number of civilizations who are circling Earth right now, monitoring us, sending light and love and energy and healing and things like that. In a conversation you and I had a little while ago, you were saying that things are shifting so quickly that you're down to plan F or so at this point. And I'm wondering if you could give us an update on how we're doing and how you're doing, and what's the state of light versus darkness and that kind of thing on the planet.
Thank you. Yes, there's much we can say. We will say that from our perspective, things look drastically different from your existing experience. From where you all stand at the human level, you feel as if though you are in many ways in the eye of the storm. You are in the thick of it. Many have asked, what is happening to Earth? And from our standpoint, when we look at this from a higher and broader perspective, we see that this storm is kicking up much dust that you are now being faced with in the form of fear or injustice. And this, as we have implied earlier, is to force humanity out of a place of complacency. This place of discomfort is an essential and pivotal part of your experience and of your ascension. Things need to feel a little uncomfortable on many levels before you can strive to envision a better place and a better experience for all. This is the road, the sometimes messy road towards unity consciousness. From our perspective, we see that surely and slowly the dust is beginning to settle. But because you are on the ground, you are still seeing it, experiencing it. But we have the opportunity and the ability to look beyond the storm, beyond this dense energy that you are all thriving to overcome, to manage yourselves through. And what we see is that the path is clearing, slowly but surely it is clearing. And those who are the way showers are propelling the activation and the awakening of many more in the human collective. This truly is the key to ascension. It is important that humanity takes a different perspective on the world around them, that they begin to question their reality as it has been portrayed to them, that they begin to do their inner work, that they begin to ask not what an industry, a system, or society can do for them, but rather how they can bring their light to the world. As humanity, one by one, begins to show up differently, they allow more light in the higher dimensional energy and universal love to be anchored in and around your Mother Earth, within the human collective, and in fact, all collectives on Earth. For no collective operates in isolation. You are all united in more ways than you are aware of. And so from our standpoint, we see that the dust is beginning to settle. Light is winning. Light will win. Light will always win. It is time for humanity to emerge from this phase in its collective evolution. It is written, it is planned. As many other beings have said here today, nothing will stop you. But how easy or how difficult it is largely up to you. It is how you show up. It is grounded and anchored in your ability to envision the world that you wish to manifest. You are not necessarily victims of the world you are in. You are co-creators. You are far more powerful and sovereign and capable than you have given yourselves credit for. So we are here to show you and to reflect back to you your power, your abilities, and who you truly are at an essential level, to allow each of you to step up and flourish and be the light that you want to see on your planet.
Thank you. Canadra, as I think we are hearing here, a number of our institutions are beginning to break down and change, and we can look forward to some improvements in many of them. And as you have a leaning towards education, I was wondering what kind of innovations we might look forward to in the near future coming down the pike in education.
There are many shifts occurring now, and that will occur most likely in the near future around how youth are evaluated within the system, what their day looks like within the school system, the value of their need for time in nature and outdoors, the value in finding and knowing their personal outlets, so to speak, their ways of finding peace in times of challenges and stress. It is a number of shifts that will be important around a more integrated approach to education as a subject, and education perhaps in a broader sense of life. That these two things intersect, that people have always known this. However, it has not always been practiced and reflected in education through all grades. These will be very beneficial shifts that will allow youth to see themselves as co-creators, as part of a bigger whole, as opposed to perhaps the way many have felt in the past as people trying to reach certain abstract goals that have been set out. These abstract yardsticks, so to speak, are being dismantled, and there is a re-envisioning of what will ultimately be the most important things for a young person to walk out of an education system with, so that they are seeing themselves as complete, not just perhaps seeing themselves as having completed a particular set of goals and objectives that have been laid out, in some areas unchanging for many decades. It is a very hopeful time, and like was said, the dust has not settled. However, when it does, and there is clarity about a new direction, there will be a great deal of benefit to be had by not only the youth, but by society. It is very positive changes that are on the horizon. And people can contribute to that by envisioning, as was said, how this institution should change, could change, how they would wish to see it change for their children, so that they are co-creating that evolution. We hope that helps.
Yes, yeah, very uplifting, actually. Ascended Masters, I'm wondering if you could do somewhat the same thing and shed a little light on, I know you can't predict the future exactly, but some of the things that you think are highly likely about the ways we will live in communities. Our cities in some ways are a bit dysfunctional, maybe a lot. And I can imagine that some of those structures will break down and new ones will emerge. Can you tell us what you see in that regard, please?
We see potential changes in your environment where people will begin to focus more on living a more green life, we could call it that, where you begin to implement nature in your cities and in your lives more, and understand the importance for that nature has in your health, physical as well as mental and emotional aspects of that individuals. And as you begin to discover this more and more, you will begin to implement it, not only because you see it as an environmental changes that are happening within the planet, but also because you begin to see how it affects you as well. As more and more of the empaths are being born and activated, as more and more of you who don't even realize that you're empaths, realize how being away from nature affects you, you begin to demand these changes in your communities, in your homes. And so in the organizations that are at play that will begin to create certain systems for that, but we also foresee new organizations coming in with the new waves of empathic beings called the millenniums. They are the ones who will bring new systems and new ways of co-creating and also of operating in this world. Technology will have a lot to do with this because it will facilitate communities to use less resources in order to be functional at the level that you want it to be functional. But at the same time, you will recognize that nature in your homes, that is part, not only in your homes, but in your communities and in the cities. It is something that can be sustained, that can be helpful to the mind, to the spirit, to the body. Thank you.
Thank you. Commander Ashtar, could you shed a little light on what some of the technological breakthroughs might be that are coming down the road for us?
We could speak at length about this. We will say this. We will say that the way in which humanity largely interacts with technology will be quite different. The way humanity currently interacts with technology is that technology is a separate entity that is providing a service or accomplishing a task. In the future, new technologies will emerge that will interact with human consciousness in order to bring about a higher level of precision and healing. And we will say this with regards to healing. There will be many new technologies that will be introduced over the next decade and beyond that will be not only focused on healing the human body, healing the human soul, but as has been touched upon here by the other beings, on healing Mother Earth. There will be, we will say, for roughly a number of decades over the next century, there will be tremendous work that will be done to heal Mother Earth. There will be some technologies that will be developed by starseeds on your planet, and there will be some technologies that will be introduced by us, your brothers and sisters from the stars in the future, to help humanity in this massive healing and cleanup that will need to take place. There will need to be a reversal of some of the damage that has been done. And so many of these future generations of children are coming in as healers and clearers, and they are going to be what we will say technological geniuses who are going to help bring this technology to a higher use within the human collective. And so we will, instead of providing a laundry list, as you would say, of all the different technologies, we will say that the way in which humanity interacts with the technology will be far more evolved and of greater importance. The way in which technology is used will be to benefit humanity, the animal collectives, as well as Mother Earth. So the focus of the technological benefit will be very different than what you see now. It is an evolution, not only technologically speaking, but with regards to its focus and intention.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I know that would have been a long discourse otherwise. There is a question here, and it's also time to wrap things up. So I was thinking perhaps if each of you would have a sort of a finishing comment, but weave into it, how can we birth a new self individually? Kanada, would you like to begin with that, please?
Yes. Thank you. Birthing a new self is becoming in touch with oneself. It requires going within. It requires giving yourself space, creating the time creating that time in a way it was spoken of earlier, of slowing it down in a sense to give yourself that time. This last year has allowed for that for many people in a way it hasn't before. It's allowed for people to go within, to focus within their own energy field to a greater extent, in mixing, so to speak, energy fields less, as would happen in larger groups and in a shopping mall, for example. You are able to find yourself within your energy field, to not have it perhaps diluted on some level. So this time can be seen as a gift during the pandemic, as you call it, to give yourself that space, the time to go within and to, for some, heal, to reconnect with what you perhaps valued in the past, but have lost connection to. That is our perspective on this important time and how it intersects with that question.
Mhm. Thank you. Commander Esther?
Yes, we fully agree with what Canandra has expressed, that going within is key. We will add to that in saying that it is important for all of you to learn to disconnect somewhat with the, we will say, the reality and the energies that do not serve you. This takes us back to some extent to the fear, the division that is being manufactured and showcased to all of you to create division and upset. This is nothing but a distraction from what is important. You must learn to disconnect from anything that does not serve you and go within, find yourselves, and learn to connect with your beings. Learn to identify that which exists within you that needs to be healed and addressed. Because when you heal yourself, it will put you in a place where you can more brightly shine your light and assist others. And this is the momentum that has begun. It is the momentum that we wish to see accelerate in your realm. And so for some of you, this may be meditation, quiet time, learning to connect with nature, going back to your spiritual roots, we will say, and sifting through your reality to extract that which serves you and that which is important to your growth and your happiness, and that which is not. It is time for all of you to be a little bit more selective in what you allow into your life. And we wish you very much light and love along your journey.
Thank you. And Ascended Masters, please.
Yes. Birthing a new self from our perspective has to do with realizing that you are a spirit just as much as you are a physical being. When you marry the two of them, the spirit and the personality, that is physical, you become one in those two aspects of yourself. And so you can begin to birth your realities from a mindful perspective that is aligned to your truth, because you are able to see with clarity, not just with one set of eyes, but with both that have created the one unique self in a physical reality. And so as you begin to walk your new path or your new realizations or your new life, you begin to then activate within yourself other aspects of self that are dormant, that you cannot access until this becomes so. And as you activate those aspects of yourself, more realizations about yourself and about your reality become your truth. And you begin to operate at a completely different frequency, mentally, as well as physically and energetically. And this begins to create the shifts within your planet, the shifts that are meant to happen. It allows you to then also connect to others at different levels, to see truth where things are hidden. It allows you to then break through barriers. It allows you to move forward in ways that you've never thought of. We ask you that through this process, that you stay always grounded and focus on what you want to achieve with easiness and peace, and through love, through kindness for the self. You are able to unite your spirit and your personality in the way that is meant to, in a gentle way, in a way that has compassion for both. We thank you for allowing us to speak today.
Well, thank you. Although I did characterize those as wrap-up messages, there are two people that are very interested in free energy for the planet, and was wondering if there would be a reasonable prediction of when we might see that. Would anyone like to run with that one briefly? And then I think we can wrap everything up. There are a couple of people who asked about free energy and the possible elimination of our reliance on fossil fuels and even other sources, such as some of the alternatives. And just wondering if there is a bit of a timeline as to when free energy will be available to all.
It is not possible to predict from our perspective. However, we see 2034 as a number that is appearing to begin the process of elimination of certain types of energies that are consuming more than giving.
Mm. Okay, thank you very much for that. I think that's it, folks. Tina's back.
Yep.
Monica's kind of half back. Well done, ladies. Nicely done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I guess by way of wrap up, any final comment, Kate?
It was really interesting to see how the beings work together to provide a more complete answer to some of the questions. You know, all the beings bring a unique energy and perspective, and it was really nice that they were able to kind of gift wrap every answer more fully. So it was a really nice combination of energy and information.
Mm-hmm. Tiffany, are you still with us?
She had to leave.
She had to leave. Okay.
Yeah.
Tina, any comments, feelings at this point?
Yeah, it was interesting. And yeah, I thought the same thing, kind of like it was kind of layers that were added. Yeah, it was by the different comments. And yeah, and Tiffany's thing on dragons, I didn't comment on at the break, but it was really fascinating. And I've done a few dragon meditations, and it's neat. It's something I'd like to do more of and kind of connect with. It's fascinating stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. And Monica, all of this series of 6 with, I think with 6 channelers, 6 sessions, It's all your fault. Any wrap-up comments?
Oh, well, I'm really grateful to all of you guys, you, Denis and Kimberly as well, because and Shani, who all helped make this happen. All of you channelers, thank you for your patience as well. And everyone who participated, thank you. It really makes a difference in our world, I think, when we are not only supporting each other, but we can come together like this and just open up space, room for this in the world. So yeah, thank you everyone.
Thank you for having us, Monica. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, I think all the thank yous have been nicely said all around. I won't add to them, but I am grateful for this experience. It's been very illuminating, uplifting, maybe enlightening even.
Yeah.
To those who tuned in through Zoom, there will be a recording of this event, and it usually takes about a week or so. Is that right, Monica?
Yes.
Yeah. So if Monica has your email address, you'll get it.
Mhm.
Guys, I think that is it, unless anyone else has anything to add.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Everyone.
Bye. Have a nice night.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Bye.
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 Peter.
Thanks, Peter. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Peter. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.